Okay, so here's a video of the end part of 325, and this is the part where it gets, kind of interesting, where you try to hack your machine. So this is the same process you're going to do in our project coming up. So we're going to try to compromise or hack into our system. This said it's the most delicate part. We're going to use Metasploit, which is basically a tool used by penetration testers that finds basically different exploits, and you can try them out. So on our virtual machine, if we open up a PowerShell window, you're going to see we are going to access Metasploit using these commands here. Okay, so hold on. I'm going to type that in. So I went ahead and typed this in. It takes a little bit to load, so I paused it. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to try to pen test Pump PLC to see if one of the vulnerabilities are there. If you looked and remembered our Quick Scan Plus, it showed us in our Nessus scan that there was at Pro FTP 1.3.5 that was exploitable, probably. So let's go here. So when you look at it, I like this one. It's an Oregon Trail. Everybody has a different scene when they open it up. So here we're in the MSF console. So we're in Metasploit. We're going to type in search pro FTP because we found FTPD. We found that it might be hackable. Right? So we're going to search for that. And basically Metasploit goes through and tries to find all the exploits that are related to pro FTP. Okay? And if we look at it, we want to find the pro FTP that was used by Pump PLC, which is the 1.3.5. So we're going to go in here and look for the one of these that would relate to 135. Okay, so we basically just searched Metasploit for pro FTP, and now we're going to look on here. Here it is, 1.3.5. This is the exploit we need. Here is a file that tries to hack it. Okay, you have to type this in exactly as you see it, and we have to type the word use before it. So we're going to use this exploit and try to use it on Pump PLC. Okay, so I'm going to pause while I type that stuff in. So it's basically, it finds a bunch of things wrong with ProFTP, and it gives you the tools to actually, go in there and mess with stuff. And you can see here it changed to MSF exploit. So now we're going to exploit this this 8215 thing we found in Nessus, where it said it was a red vulnerability. So now we're going to type show options, okay, and see what that does. Show options. Boom. Okay, so it has all sorts of options here. That's where I type show options. Our host is the target HTTP FTP port. So we got all these options here. So if we want to attack Pump PLC, we have to set our host to be Pump PLC's, and then we want to set our site path here to be able to try to exploit the the part we need to exploit. Okay, so our host. So we're going to type that stuff in. Set our host to 10.2.0.5, and we're going to hit enter, and then we're going to set our site path to this one here. Okay. Yeah. So I type the host, and then I type set site path, and I hit enter, and it reset the site path. So now we can attack basically the path we're going to attack here. Now all we have to do is type in attack, because the Metasploit is going to do it for us. Now that we kind of set it there, And it said, if you remember in Nessus, it said there's a backdoor to the remote host that ProFTP let happen. So let's just type exploit and see what happens. Boom. So it's trying its thing here. Started, it connected the FP. Now it's executing a payload. Ooh, man. It opened a session 1. It's doing all sorts of bad stuff here. It's running a hack. Okay. So it found a port that was running. It connected. It sent stuff. If it was shut down, this stuff would not have happened when I typed exploit. It wouldn't have been able to connect to the FTP. It wouldn't have been able to send commands. It wouldn't have been able to send a PHP, which is like a database download. So yeah. So we're going to see, if you type in who am I, it's still running, isn't it? Okay, let's pause this and let it do its thing. Okay, and then this goes into the fact that when you're logged in here through Metasploit, we're in PLC's shell. That we're in their PowerShell, and you can see it here. It says session 1 opened a shell session. But what's different is you don't see the little triangle you normally do. But if I type in who am I, it shows you your WW data. We're in Pump PLC. So that's kind of weird. Let's see, we can do host name and ifconfig. Right, Pump PLC, you can see that. So we're in a PowerShell thing. And you can look at all their configurations, and if you're a hacker, you could use this to, do some bad stuff. That's your network interface with MAC address and all sorts of stuff. Now we can do this ifconfig with eth0 and see what happens. Oops. Okay, down here, there's their Ethernet 0 configuration. And basically, you can see in here their IP address. You can see their MAC address is in here too. You got all sorts of good stuff to look at if you're a hacker. And then, yeah, we can cat the password. Let's see this. This is pretty cool. So, oops, I misspelled password. Oh, look at that. So you get a list of users in here. Man, that's all sorts of stuff here. Okay, so basically, we made a backdoor into Pump PLC, and the problem with this is, obviously when we're in there, you could see stuff that you shouldn't be able to, and get to places you shouldn't, personal information and stuff like that. So you got to be really careful with this. We can end this session with Control-C, and then abort the session, and then exit. Is it exit or quit? Yeah. So anyway, so basically we used that thing we found in Nessus when it gave us a red thing, and now we used Metasploit to attack that and exploit it. So the last thing to do is to remediate, and you're going to see we're going to go in and close that gap, basically. So basically the best way to do it is to go into ProFTP and reinstall and upgrade the FTP software. That's what I would recommend to the company. But since updating sometimes takes a long time, we can also go into Pump PLC and make sure their firewall is set up correctly with their FTP table, and we can make sure that it's blocked so they can't get in and mess with it. And if you remember, you got to go back to those IP tables and make sure the source for FTP traffic only is allowed to come from our target windows. So remember, we're going to go in there, mess with the IP tables. You'll have to go back and look at your notes from those IP table setups and the rules that you did previously in 3.2.3. Yeah, at the end of 3.2.3, where you set up your IP tables. So yeah, you'll go through there and check that out. So anyway, the other way to do it is you could go back and try that exploit again. That same thing we typed in way up top, right, where we typed pro FTP and we tried to connect to the R host and stuff like that. And you'll see if you close down the IP tables, then even though the backdoor exists, it won't allow it because our packets are not allowed to come from anything except for the correct host. And we shouldn't be able to connect to FTP from target windows. FTP should actually just be from Pump Monitor to Pump PLC. So try that out. You'll have to jump back to the previous lesson where we messed with IP tables and stuff like that, which I think was 3.2, yeah, 3.2.4. Let's check real quick since I have a minute. Is this the one with the IP tables where we set them up at the end of the lesson? Yeah, it was 3.2.4. So here, where you do the input, you list them. There's SSH. I don't really want SSH. Here's FTP from the source. There it is. This is the real thing you need to stop it, because you make sure your source for FTP is from 10.2.0.6 only, and it's FTP traffic. That would block it from happening. Still need to make sure you do this stuff and this, and then save. So if you go through that steps, basically 23 down, 22 down, you can set up the firewall rules so target windows can't attack that back door anymore. So, good stuff, right? That's kind of neat. If I were recommending this to a company, I definitely would still tell them to update their FTP and also fix their firewalls. So anyway, hope that helps. Yeah, talk to you later.